Hello, everybody. I'm Andrea Romero, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. I'm here today to talk to you about using portfolios to document leadership, extension, service, and innovation impact for the 2023-2024 promotion cycle. To begin with, we respectfully acknowledge the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of Indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the O'odham and the Yaqui. Committed to diversity and inclusion, the university strives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign Native nations and Indigenous communities through education offerings, partnerships, and community service. Our vision in faculty affairs is to nurture a humanistic approach to faculty activity that fosters excellence, equity, and impact. We aspire to high levels of accountability, efficiency, and transparency. We work to promote the understanding of the role and contributions of faculty at the university, and we adhere to the fundamental values of our land-grant institution and R1 status. The agenda today is to give a brief introduction to faculty affairs, discuss inclusive scholarship in the area of service and publicly engaged service, talk about documenting and assessing your work in Section 7 for the leadership portfolio, with a particular focus on continuing status faculty position effectiveness. We'll talk a little bit about supplementary documentation and leadership in faculty service. We take an inclusive view of scholarship at the University of Arizona in the recognition that knowledge is acquired and advanced through discovery, integration, application, and teaching. In this perspective, promotion and tenure reviews consider this a key factor in the criteria at department level, college level, and university level. It recognizes original research contributions that go far beyond peer-reviewed publications and considers as well integrative and applied forms of scholarship that involve cross-cutting collaborations with business and community partners, including translational research, commercialization activities, and patents. This is a new view and a wider view of how we think about scholarship and promotion at higher institutions. Now, the way that we approach this at the University of Arizona is a systemic approach to consider inclusive scholarship shifts in our criteria. Of course, faculty are at the center of this, but we know it's important to have alignment across all of the embedded ecosystems that consider and review the faculty dossier. So faculty are at the center, and we work with them directly through promotion workshops, mentoring activities, and providing a dossier template that allows opportunities to document the wide range of activities they do that are considered under inclusive scholarship. We also work with department heads and committees, deans and college committees. They have included inclusive scholarship in their promotion criteria, and we also address this as well as other factors such as implicit bias in administrator and review committee training. The president and provost are very much on board with the concept of inclusive scholarship. They address this through visible messaging and communication, regular meetings with groups, using data and reports. They are responsible for holding units accountable and for hosting the inclusive scholarship policy. Peer review, external review is critical to promotion and tenure review. So it's important that our peer institutions are also aligned with this view of scholarship. We work with many national groups that bring together faculty, faculty affairs, and experts across the nation to talk about inclusive views of scholarship, including groups like the PTI Group, Promotion, Tenure, Innovation, Entrepreneurship Group, the APLU Faculty Group, WICHE, and we also have addressed this in modified external reviewer cover letters. Scholarship Reconsidered considers that the science of discovery includes investigations that generate new knowledge, as well as scholarship of integration that considers interdisciplinary connections that synthesize knowledge in new ways. The scholarship of application and the scholarship of engagement are particularly relevant for Section 7. The scholarship of application is concerned with applying knowledge to social issues. Sometimes this allows us to test theories or ground our knowledge making. The scholarship of engagement extends these forms of inquiries by collaborative inquiries on social issues. There's also a scholarship of teaching that considers transforming and extending, as well as transmitting knowledge. For more information, you can read the Scholarship of Engagement that comes from the Center for Experiential Learning through Loyola University. When we think about publicly engaged service, this includes many different possible dimensions. Service might include things like technical assistance, expert testimony, or even legal advice, working with non-university clients who've requested assistance to address an issue or solve a problem that require your expertise in a particular area. Another consideration might be co-curricular service learning. These service learning experiences are not always offered in conjunction with a credit-bearing course or academic program, but they do include important connections with community. Service may also include things like patient, clinical, and diagnostic services. Services offered to human and animal clients with care provided by university faculty members, professionals, or grad students. This may occur through hospitals, laboratories, or clinics. Service also includes things like advisory boards or other disciplinary-related service. This type of scholarly expertise provided by faculty is very important to outside non-university audiences. This may occur in an ad hoc or an ongoing basis. This may also include commercialized activities, translation of new knowledge generated by the university to the public through commercialization of discoveries. Examples of this might include things like tech transfer, licenses, copyrights, and even some forms of economic development. So in the Section 7 portfolio, we are looking for documentation of impact. This provides a much broader way for faculty to provide evidence and describe their activities that goes beyond the traditional CV format. This allows you to discuss more in detail for continuing status faculty, your position effectiveness and impact. For faculty, it might also provide you opportunities to provide more evidence from community and business collaborators with an emphasis on the impact on program development or program impact, or perhaps evaluation and assessment of those programs. This allows you opportunities to provide evidence of things like news reports, adoption of programs or materials by other institutions or groups, or grants or contracts that support or build on service contributions. What we are looking for in this section is something that faculty take time to really curate. This is not just putting everything in together that you've ever done. It really is selectively curating, choosing, highlighting the most important activities that you have focused on, things that demonstrate innovation, demonstrate leadership, demonstrate impact, demonstrate position effectiveness, documenting and also assessing where possible the quality, the effectiveness, and the impact of these activities. Section 7, or service portfolio, as it's often been referred to, is optional for career track faculty and tenure track faculty. It is required for continuing status faculty so that they may demonstrate their position effectiveness. Candidates can use this section to document the impact of their leadership in a wide variety of areas. So this section is optional for tenure track or career track faculty. They may choose to complete it if they have significant leadership activities, innovation, programs that they've worked with in community engaged activities. There's a wide range of things that they might be involved in that were really quite significant, perhaps grew out of their work in their teaching or their research or other activities. It may be because their workload has a significant portion dedicated to service, administration, or other outreach activities. For those individuals, it might be worthwhile for them to complete Section 7 and document the work that they've done in this area. Section 7A does go on to other committees. Section 7B is supplementary and stays. Now, all of this usually does stay at the department level for tenure track and career track faculty, but if the candidate has provided significant leadership in any of these areas, they may request that this gets forwarded to external reviewers and even internal review committees. Section 7 A is required for continuing status reviews and is forwarded to all committees automatically. 7B is supplementary documentation and stays typically at the department level unless there's a request from faculty. Candidates can use Section 7 to document the impact of their leadership and outreach, extension, service, and more. 7A asks you to provide information to describe your activities and to provide some assessment about the quality or effectiveness of those activities. In this area, it might be good for you to give a program overview of the activities you're going to be describing. Very brief, but enough for reviewers to understand the kind of evidence that they will see in front of them. Give them a little bit of a roadmap about the kind of evidence you will be providing. Thus, providing a description of programs with goals and objectives, needs intended to serve, how components were developed, or methods used to reach audiences can be very helpful for your reviewers to really understand the extent of your work. Where possible, it's also great to include assessment of these programs. This might include assessment with specific measures. It might include feedback from collaborators and clients that you've collected over time working with them. This might also include accomplishments or other demonstrations of success of this program. Section 7 allows you to document a wide range of things. We provide some recommendations for you to consider in the dossier template, but we acknowledge that you may have other activities that go beyond this list. Some things that are useful to consider are leadership activities that may be in any area of work that demonstrate evidence of impact, effectiveness, or perhaps even new programs that were associated with this activity. Leadership might be in the areas of administration here on campus. It may be in leadership with professional organizations, or it may be leadership with other external committees or activities that represent you as an expert in your field. Candidates in a cooperative extension can use this portfolio to describe and provide documentation on the extension activities that they provide throughout Arizona. Candidates with significant impact and effectiveness in service activities may provide further description, evaluations, or examples of work. Informational professionals in galleries, libraries, archives, and museums can use this portfolio to describe and provide examples of their position effectiveness. This may include things like examples of their exhibits. It may also include companion guides, companion pieces. There's a wide variety of ways to represent the kind of important work and contributions that are made in these areas. It may also include things like examples of new technology, websites, apps, other forms of tech transfer, or perhaps development of new materials that might include things that are kind of outside of typical peer-reviewed publications. This might include things like online materials, instructional guides, binding guides, assessment reports. Documentation of use and impact of materials can be very useful for reviewers to understand the importance of your contributions in these areas. So Section 7A focuses first on description of these activities, as well as documenting assessment or demonstration of effectiveness and impact of these activities. Again, you might want to provide a cover sheet that gives a roadmap of the kind of programs, activities, and evidence that you are providing in this section. Section 7B provides additional supporting documentation. This may include materials from seminars or workshops, exhibits, technical reports, research studies or presentations. This may include things like newsletters, pamphlets, articles for public audiences, or special interest publications. This may also include online resources, expert testimony, or consultations. Documentation of impact may include things like full assessment plans, adoptions of programs and materials, something that really gets to better understanding of how your work has affected those either at the university or outside of the university. Again, these materials remain in the department for tenure track or career track reviews, although you can request that they go on to other review committees if it represents a significant portion of your workload or if you've made a significant impact in this area that reflects your expertise. Again, service and outreach portfolios can be used to document collaborations with business and community partners. You can also request that some of these partners or collaborators be invited by your department head to provide a more formal collaborator letter. However, if you have documentation from these partners through your activities that you've done over the years, those are the kind of things that could be included in your documentation. For more information, we provide you a couple of links here that gives quite a bit more information to think about inclusive use of scholarship, as well as additional ideas about the scholarship of engagement and community engaged work. Just to think for a few minutes about leadership in faculty service and trying to determine what sort of things you might want to include in Section 7. When you take leadership roles, even within the university, and perhaps make significant changes associated with these roles, that might be worthwhile considering to include in Section 7. Chairing committees where you made significant changes or had a significant impact in how things are done. Serving as a sponsor for student activities, groups, or administrative assignments. Again, it's not only because you were in this role that you might want to fill out Section 7, but it's about the work and the impact that you had while you were in those roles. You might also think about things like leadership roles in professional organizations, consulting you've done with organizations or corporations that made big impacts and changes to the way that they do business, consulting with universities and colleges, organizing conferences or symposium that had a significant impact on others within your field, or leadership roles on committees for federal or state government agencies or on boards. Sometimes these sort of things do not result in public-facing publications, but oftentimes there are very important technical or internal reports that are developed and that change the way that organizations function. You can also think about participating in local, state, national civic activities or organizations in leadership roles, or making significant changes through key committees in those areas. How do you apply your academic expertise in local, state, or national community? Or perhaps even working with elected officials? I think perhaps during COVID-19 pandemic time, we've learned even more about the importance and relevance of faculty expertise in areas of public health. And we saw that many faculty made a quick pivot to make their work directly applicable and integrative and reach a much wider audience. These are the exact sort of things that are well versed to document in Section 7. So we are here in Faculty Affairs. We're here to support you in any way we can. Our mission is to cultivate institutional structures for faculty advancement across the career lifespan. We take an ecosystem equity approach across all system levels. Our work is grounded in affirming transparent and inclusive approaches to supporting faculty. We recognize there are still gaps in diverse representation, access, and inclusion at every stage of the faculty career. So we have developed programs and initiatives from the recruitment stage through the advancement stage to the retention stage. All of this is done with support from senior leaders, policies, and administrators at all levels. We are all here to help and support you. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for joining us today to talk a little bit more in depth about Section 7 in the promotion dossier. Good luck to you all in preparing a strong dossier for review.